Come spend some time cleaning and decluttering at my mum's house with me. So I went to my mum's on a Friday. I actually went up in the afternoon. I normally go like early on a Friday morning, but I went up on Friday afternoon because we had this like school picnic at my boys' school. Went as a family, and that was really, really, really good fun. So I travelled up after that, and I found that surprisingly, the Wi-Fi is really good on the train and the bus on the way to my mum's. It takes me about 3 hours to get there, and I was able to get a lot of work done in that time. So like actually some like quite serious deep thinking work done. I think it's because there's like no other distractions, and when I'm on the train, I'm on the bus, like I'm just focused. I can't, go and do another job or go ahead and make a cup of tea or whatever. I just have to sit down and get work done. So as soon as I arrived at my mum's, I got stuck into watering the plants. My folks have a lot of plants. They absolutely adore their garden. They spent many, many, many years and many, many hours in getting their garden just the way they liked it before illness struck my stepdad. So my stepdad had a series of strokes starting 3 years ago. He had like really like serious few strokes like all in one, and we thought we were going to lose him then. He battled through. My mum managed to get him home, and then a year after his first stroke, he had another round of really significant serious strokes. Again, we thought we were going to lose him, and we were so lucky not to have done. However, in the past few weeks, his condition has deteriorated quite significantly, and the doctor has told my mum that they think he has Alzheimer's, and he's been really upset, very distressed, thinking that bad things are going to happen to him, to my mum, to the family, that there are people going to do bad things, and just generally being incredibly, incredibly worried. And so we are doing all we can to help keep him calm and help him to have some happy times. And but it's been really tough. And I had already decided prior to my stepdad's recent deterioration, I'd already decided that I wanted to spend more time at their house helping out. I could see that my mum was finding it tougher, both like physically and also emotionally. So my mum has quite bad arthritis, particularly in her hands and her back, and she's had like a long-standing back issue, and her back went quite recently, very, very badly. So all these things combined, like I don't want to start this video off like negatively, but that's like the scene setting. So I decided I wanted to spend more time, and I'd arranged these dates with my work, and that I could like work more flexibly on the days that I'm traveling, etc. And luckily, my job is very flexible. It is a very demanding job, and if I'm meeting clients, if I'm out and about, if I'm in Parliament, because I'm in Parliament a fair bit, then obviously I can't be like traveling on those days. But on days where I don't have like they're not too meeting heavy, then I can be very flexible, and they are really supportive and great about it. So that is a blessing. And yeah, I really enjoy spending the time with my mum, my stepdad. My husband can be relatively flexible and is obviously like more than happy to make this work as a family. So I went up, well, I did the watering. This is actually now day 2. So I went up on a Friday, watered the plants, spent some time with my folks, but didn't like do masses on the Friday evening because it was quite late when I arrived. We had nice dinner together, etc. Part of me being there is also to spend some quality time with them, and so that my mum can have some company as well, because it's difficult company like with my stepdad, because he is finding it incredibly difficult to communicate. So then on the Saturday morning, I basically threw on yesterday's dress and went out and watered the plants at the front of the house because they are in the shade for the most of the morning. So we didn't want to water those the evening before. We're very strategic, you see, on the watering. So after having done that, I wanted to get stuck into the kitchen, just getting that tidied up. Now, my mum is very, very house proud. She does everything herself. She has no help, no cleaner coming in. She does have a gardener come in on an ad hoc basis, and that's a recent development that she's organised a gardener because of the fact that she was so stretched. she is full-time carer for my stepdad. He does have, physical caring needs. He has a catheter and that sort of thing, and has significant mobility issues. He's registered disabled. So it is really, really full on caring for him, also keeping on top of the house. My mum has really high standards. And actually, when I was very young, my mum worked as a cleaner. And I think because she worked as a cleaner, and she's always had like those very high standards for herself. Like she knows how to clean properly and well, and has taught me how to clean throughout my childhood and adult years. And yeah, she would find it very hard. I think we've talked a lot about whether or not she'd get a cleaner in. My stepdad was very against having a cleaner. And I think he would find it very disruptive having people in the house on a regular basis. It may be necessary though. So it's something that they're still thinking about. My mum's still considering. But in the meantime, she continues to do the bulk of it. The idea is not that I come and like clean, but just that I come and do whatever jobs that she is struggling with, anything that is like heavy lifting to take that pressure off her back. But just be there for company as well. We had a miscommunication actually on my visit, and my mum thought that my husband was bringing the kids up on the Saturday after they'd had like, football and swimming and all of that stuff, that he was going to meet us up here with the kids. So she'd actually done loads of cleaning in advance because she didn't think I would be doing that much cleaning, and gotten loads of food in for the kids. I felt really bad, like totally disappointed her. And not that she was disappointed by me being there, but I think that they were really looking forward to seeing the kids. But we're bringing them next month, so it's all fine. They don't have to wait too long until they get, squishy grandkid cuddles and everything. And it meant I could do more because I didn't have them around, which, it sounds harsh, isn't it? But, my kids, being as they are, 7, 5, and 2 now, they're pretty full on, and they don't like it if I'm like busy. Obviously, they don't like it if I'm busy cleaning and just not being around on a weekend. So I try to be as present as possible. Partly I'm cleaning up my own mess here from my breakfast, where I seem to have used just about every piece of cooking equipment and utensil. But yeah, most of this is really just washing up from that morning. A few things from the night before, but we mostly did have everything tidied up the night before. So really, this is all just kind of superficial mess, I would say, from washing up. Now it is the hottest day of the year on this day. So this Saturday ended up getting to, I think it was 34 degrees Celsius, where my folks live in Norfolk, which is very hot for Norfolk. And normally, actually, where they are, it's usually a good few degrees cooler than where I live in Essex. But they were exactly the same, I think, temperature in Essex and Norfolk. So for this video, you will see the majority of the time we have blinds down, and we're trying to keep the inside of the house as cool as possible. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to be like speed cleaning. I'm running around like a headless chicken. On today's video, I'm trying to take things a little slower. So obviously do speed up my videos so that you don't have to sit through hours and hours of footage of me cleaning and organising and tidying. Now, the kitchen island is something that I really want to tackle. Kitchen island in my house gets very cluttered. I would say like any like flat surface in a high traffic area is going to get cluttered pretty quickly. And I love my kitchen island, and I think a kitchen island has a great like functionality in home, but you have to be super careful with them. I used to have a lot more on my kitchen island, and actually have gradually, bit by bit, removed a lot of it. And really, aside from the fruit bowl, which is like a massive marble mortar, like from Mortar and Pestle, which is super cool. Apart from that, the bulk of it arguably could be removed from the kitchen island. However, my mum is definitely quite similar to me. She's a very visual person. And if she doesn't have the things that she needs to kind of like do an action in front of her in sight, then she's going to forget about them entirely. I am exactly the same. So if I need to action any paperwork, I need to return anything, I need to fill a form in for the kids or whatever, then I have to leave it in a neat little pile on the kitchen island, or it's just not going to get done. So my mum has lots of piles of things that she wants to either look at or action or tinker with or fix or whatever that may be. So bearing this in mind, my aim is not to clear the kitchen island completely, because at the end of the day, under as much pressure as my mum and stepdad are, they need the house to work for them. Like, it doesn't have to be the most aesthetically pleasing kitchen island, it just has to be functional for them. So I'm moving some things around, I'm putting some things in order, I'm coming up with some piles of things to go through with my mum so that we can have a chat. So I've got a pile of things that I think could go into the recycling. So that may be like newspapers and magazines, which are like a few weeks or more out of date. It could be money off vouchers that have expired, notes for shopping lists that I think my mum has completed, because I know I can see all of those food items in her fridge right now, for example. And then I have another pile of stuff which I think could be moved. So some magazines, which I'm not sure if she's read or not, but magazines that she hasn't read generally tend to live in the living room. And then we have a cookbook, and the cookbooks tend to live in the office. There's a big bookshelf in the office. My mum always has so many sticky notes in her cookbooks. Are you like this? Like, she cooks something from a recipe book and she likes it, then she's going to note it up for future. Whereas I tend to then write the recipe down into a separate recipe book that I have, because that works best for me, because you can guarantee that I'm not going to remember like what cookbook a particular recipe was actually in. So that tends to work best for me, but my mum likes to have them all marked up. So if you look at her cookbooks in her bookshelf, they are absolutely full of post-its which mark her favorite recipes. So I'm also going through, so we have medications and things up here on the kitchen island. And again, because my stepdad has medications every day, my mum has medications every day, and they want to absolutely remember taking them, then they have the medicines sitting up here in a little kind of pile all together. So I'm just organizing them, getting rid of any kind of debris, any empty packets, for example, and moving them there. Now, yes, they could use pill boxes. You can get pill boxes for days long. So I bet I'm going to get a comment from somebody saying that they should buy pill boxes. But they find this particular system works well for them. If you use pill boxes and you've got to organise those each week, you'd have those sitting out instead of the packets. So there's just a few packets sitting here. And I think if that works for them, great, carry on. I also found a lot of buttons, an awful lot of buttons. Now, my mum loves knitting, she loves sewing, she loves crafting, and she does make a lot of things when she has the time to do so. So if like one of my stepdad's shirts gets ruined, then she will cut it up to rags to use for cleaning, and she'll cut the buttons off so she can use it in a different project. So I put all of those together in a little plastic bag so they're all in one spot. Just moving on to some washing up here. I wanted to wait, so part of the reason why I did the kitchen island when I did is my mum was having a shower, and I wanted to wait until I was confident she was out of the shower. I could hear her like drying her hair or whatever, so that I didn't run the water and disturb her only like peaceful time if I could possibly do so. So by now we're already looking much neater and tidier in the kitchen. So we tackled a couple of different decluttering projects while I was here, some of which emerged as I was actually tidying that kitchen island. My mum had bought some brand new placemats, and so we really had a couple of different sets of placemats on the go. So we went through those, which I will show you in a little while, and we managed to cull some of those items there and have a bit of a tidy up. But because I didn't have a set list of jobs for this particular visit, my mum hadn't expected me to have as much time to complete jobs. It meant we found ourselves with some time to kind of, pick and choose if there were any particular projects that my mum wanted to tackle. And she really wanted to get some decluttering done in her utility room, where she felt that one cupboard in particular was getting a bit overwhelming. And I absolutely love decluttering and cleaning for other people. I don't know about you. Are you the same? I just find it so much easier than actually doing my own in my own house. And I guess because, if it's not your things, they don't hold the same like sentimental value, do they? So now that my mum is down, I'm asking her the questions about the piles that I've sorted out. And we're just going through things like bit by bit. like she said, I know it sounds a bit bizarre, but for the newspapers, even though one of them was out of date, she hadn't got around to reading like last week's weekend newspaper, and there was an article she wanted to read. So like, no problem, we'll keep that. We'll put that in the pile of stuff to read, put to kind of like, to do, to action, and a good chunk of the rest of it managed to go into the recycling, and so that we can like really clear up some space on that kitchen island. My mum really didn't want to be in shot by this point because she hadn't yet straightened her hair. So I was careful to make sure there weren't too many like close-up images of her, cut the bulk of it out, and then laughed as I excused her to go and do her hair. And then I could get rid of the rest of those bits and bobs on the kitchen island. So we're not going to get to the point where the kitchen island is completely free of all things. We're just aiming for it to be a bit neater, a bit tidier, so that mum can see everything that she actually needs, and that those kind of piles of things have amassed that are effectively rubbish we can get rid of, and so that's nice and easy. So finally back to finishing off the washing up. Then I can wipe down the surfaces, and I always feel like with any particular project or like any day you're going to do anything, even if that is you're going to be decluttering your bedroom, for example, I like to make sure that firstly the kitchen is looking neater, because I don't know about you, but I find if my kitchen is a mess, and then I start to easily feel like quite overwhelmed, and it always feels like a bigger task than it is. Like, I would say, looking at my mum's kitchen, you'd be tempted to think like, oh my gosh, have they not done like the washing up for a couple of days? But really, it's just that washing up, if you spread it out across surfaces, then it really does add up. But it takes hardly any time at all when you're filling up a dishwasher, washing up a few bits, wiping down the surfaces, and before you know it, your house looks much more put together. So returning to my mum and stepdad's situation, because I have a feeling I will get some comments from people asking me about whether they can afford to or can have like carers come in to help and offer some relief. And in answer, hopefully ahead of time to those inevitable questions, my mum has already made several inquiries with local firms about arranging for carers to come in and help her out. She's made some inquiries about respite care as well. So she has got on it. We have all of that in hand, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to arrange for somebody to come in and help her out. So we're going through those placemats next, working out which ones will stay, which ones will go. I think on the one hand, it's quite an easy decision, isn't it? You buy a new set, you get rid of the old set. But my mum actually uses placemats upstairs in the bedrooms as well to protect some of those upstairs units from marks from cups, etc. And she wanted to replace some of those which were a bit worse for wear with the better ones of the sets that she was, effectively done with. And then when I got all the placemats out of the drawer in which they live, there were a few like fabric napkins or fabric placemats at the bottom of the drawer. And it appeared that somebody had put one away with like an egg noodle or something attached to it. So it was disgusting. The egg noodle was like all dried out, stuck to the lining of the drawer, which had like a pretty paper lining in it, and like ruined the fabric placemat. So we ended up binning those as well, getting rid of the lining, and then I am just cutting a new lining for the drawer, because I think, if you spot a job like that and you have the ability to complete the job there and then, it is always best to do so. I find it very hard. I'm sure if you have like, kids, any caring responsibilities, you'll be exactly the same. Like, you do something and you spot that something is wrong, it's broken, it's out of place, or whatever it may be. But then if you're like me, your next thought is, well, do I have the time to sort this out right now? And the question inevitably is no, especially if you're working long hours like I do with 3 young children. Then like 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have the time there and then. But because I did have the time at my mum's, whereas my mum mostly would be struggling for the time to sort the drawer out fully, I was like, you know what, we're just going to go ahead, sort it out properly right now, measure up, get that piece of paper cut back in the drawer. I also tipped out the drawer of crumbs and gave it a like good wipe through. So that should be all sorted for the coming year's use. I got the placemats fitted in there really nicely. And if you saw me using my phone earlier, I was actually Googling, can you recycle placemats? Because my mum and I were having a debate. And it turns out, well, according to the internet anyway, we should be able to do so. So I've put those in a recycling bag. Now, let me show you the decluttering we're going to be doing, because oh my goodness me, does it need to be some decluttering in this cupboard. So my mum has two big cupboards like this that sit in the utility room. This is one of them. As the last two shelves in here that have been stressing my mum out. She is feeling pretty overwhelmed by them. So to start up with, we've got this little like fold out table put up behind me, so that just helps give me a bit more surface so that I can put things on the table as I start to sort through them. So the idea is I do this largely with mum, but not entirely with mum, because she also has caring responsibilities she needs to be carrying out. She has a bit of cooking she needed to do. So she is sort of in and out of the frame, if you like. And I'm going through things with her as I can. So she's standing just out of shot there, talking to her about some things that I have seen in this tote box. I really hope that the audio on here does not pick up my tummy rumbling. I don't know how I can possibly be hungry, because I had an enormous dinner out with my family tonight. We went to this beautiful Persian restaurant in Twickenham in London. We went to see my friend. And it was absolutely delicious. And I feel like I ate my weight in Persian food. And now apparently my tummy is ready for like round two. I don't know what it's expecting, but I'm not eating anything else. It is now 10 to midnight, because you know this is my favourite time to record my voiceovers when everyone else is in bed and it's nice and peaceful and quiet in the house. So anyway, I hope you can't hear my tummy. Let's get back to it. So we have these three tote boxes on the top of the cupboard now. My mum's really focused with those bottom two shelves, but what I want to do is make sure I'm coming up with some like better systems for organising if I possibly can. And one thing I noticed as I started to go through those shelves, pretty quickly I realised we have quite a lot of decorations. We have some Christmas decorations, we have quite a lot of Easter decorations, and kind of other bits and bobs that would seem to go more with occasions, like particular occasions, be they Christmas, be they birthdays, than kind of like your everyday use. So I really like the idea of freeing up one of these tote boxes so that I could use it for decorations, and then that could sit out of sight. And getting rid of all of those smaller things from the drawers, from the shelves, will make it easier, hopefully, for my mum to see and find the things that she really needs. So my mum has some time to come and sit with me. She is sat there on a little stool while I'm going through things and showing her them, because I don't want her like bending over, diving into shelves with her back being, as it is, quite temperamental at the moment. We want her continuing her road to recovery. So I think my mum was pretty good really in making decisions during this declutter, especially given the fact that she hadn't like geared herself up mentally for it. And I do think it helps when you are like mentally geared for declutter, when it's something that is like in your mind as something that you want to do. Not to say that she didn't want to do this, but just that, you know, until I'd arrived telling her the night before that actually I wasn't bringing the kids with me, she had no idea that I was going to be able to do this project. So we've already tackled the cupboard opposite as well in the utility room, which has a lot of like chemicals and cleaning stuff and that sort of thing in. And that's still looking pretty good. So I figure actually it's probably a good idea to stick with the utility room for now. And then we can move on to other areas to declutter, like room by room, because my mum is very aware that she needs to do some decluttering the house. And she has been doing some actually on her own. And I think this is really awesome. I found it with my dad when I was decluttering his flat as well. Like when I would come on other visits, he would have done more himself. I think like actually decluttering together with somebody can like really spur you on and like give you that confidence to tackle some items and areas yourself. Now, I'd love to tell you that in this cupboard we will find all of my mum's crockery and glassware, but I would be lying if I told you that. My mum has got loads of it. It's something that she really adores, and it's something that I very much remember from my childhood. We went on holidays where we would go to like the potteries, and we'd go into Wedgwood and Royal Dalton and see how they made and painted the pottery. And then they have these like massive marquees in these places where they sell like seconds, where there be like actual real like seconds with damage, or slight seconds, or seconds where you weren't supposed to be able to tell that there was any damage to the items, etc. And my mum was like in mum heaven in these places. I was not so much, because I won't say that I disliked going into potteries, because I think it was pretty interesting to see how things are made. And as a kid, like if you're getting involved in a process like that, it can be really interesting, like watching that like unfold before you. But being like walked around a giant marquee full of pottery with lots of other women from around the world getting overexcited about gravy boats is not my idea of a great day out now, and especially not when I was a child. So I do remember that. I wouldn't say that happened very often, but we had, a couple of holidays where that was a focus of the holiday. And I think that is absolutely fine, because the idea is not that you do absolutely everything just for your children for what they want. And it's something my husband and I try to do. Like if we have a holiday, we try to do some activities which have a bit more of a focus on like things that we wanted to do. And we hope that the children will enjoy. We wouldn't choose something thinking we want to do that and we think the kids will hate it. We choose them thinking we will enjoy this, but hopefully the kids will too. And then, they also can understand that. And, sometimes they might say to us, like, this is boring. And we'll gently explain that we have to think about other people as well when we're on holiday, when we're at activities. And I think it's a good life lesson, I'll be honest. So basically, my mum has too much pottery and she has too much glassware, and she kind of knows it. But also, I don't think she's currently exactly in the place where she wants to do she's definitely not in the place where she wants to do a big cull, but she's gradually going to get there. And I think it's going to take a bit of time of us tackling areas, 2, 3, 4 times before we can make those decisions really about what, getting rid of a bit more. So there is another cupboard that I was actually putting something into in the like kind of dining area, and when I opened it, realized that there was so much more like glassware. Some of it matched some of the items in this cupboard, so we were able to match those up. But a lot of it didn't, it was sort of separate standalone collections. And I just reminded my mum that that was also there, and then we'll need to have a look at that another day. But we did not have the time for it on this particular day. Now, being the hottest day of the year, my poor stepdad was really struggling. Like he was not enjoying the heat. His body was not enjoying the heat. And he did a lot of sleeping on this day. So a lot of lying down, a lot of resting, which is absolutely the best thing. I think you have to listen to your body. And if you are not 100%, as my stepdad is not, then you have to take it as easy as you possibly can on days like this. So we found some like random things in these shelves, I must say, pictures of family, etc., and all sorts of crafting things, and just stuff that I think my mum had forgotten was there as well. So another reason why I think it's really good to declutter is that you're going through areas and you actually ascertain what is in there and remind yourself. We were very surprised to find, or my mum was very surprised to find, a travel iron in amongst all the stuff in these shelves. And when I pulled it out, she said, "Oh my gosh, not a third travel iron." So I was like, "What do you mean a third travel iron?" And she revealed that she had two other travel irons sitting on the work surface behind me. So she did then, after the declutter, go through those travel irons, make a decision, and let two go. So that is really, really good. I would have liked it actually if she'd let them all go, because honestly, when have you ever needed a travel iron? As I pointed out to her, in as gentle like manner as I possibly could. I had a travel iron for ages and I got rid of mine locally, because I thought, well, firstly, I just hate ironing, right? So I don't really buy stuff that needs ironing. And then secondly, if I happen to have something that really needs ironing when I'm on holiday, then I'm either A, in an Airbnb and they'll have an iron, or B, I'm in a hotel and I can borrow an iron. And so I would never have an occasion where I'm going to need a travel iron. But once upon a time, like, places did not have irons, right? Like, so if you went to a hotel even, you wouldn't necessarily find an iron. And if you were going on holiday somewhere and you had clothes that needed ironing, then you would take your travel iron with you and you'd have your little tea towel out on the bed, trying to iron your shirt as best as possible or your summer dress or whatever it may be. But also, little life hack for you here, I have found that hair straighteners are an incredibly effective iron when you're on holiday. So if I ever have like a sleeve that needs ironing, or the bottom of my skirt just needs tidying up because I've been sat down for a while and it's, whatever, it's all got the kind of pleat marks in it, then I just run my hair straighteners along the clothing item and it works a treat. So there you go, no more travel irons. If you've got a travel iron or three like my mum did in your house, I urge you to get rid of all of them. But some other questions I like to ask my mum when we are decluttering is, did you know this item was in here? If you lost this item, would you pay to replace it? Where would you look for this item if you needed it? And I think this is a really important one because we had lots of items where I was asking my mum, like, if you needed this, where would you look for it? And it turned out that in that cupboard in the utility room was not the answer to any of the questions that I asked her about whether she would look for the item there or whether she needed the item, etc., etc. So I find those questions like really helpful. Those are the sorts of questions I ask myself as well. As kind of, if I decided, if I got rid of this item and then I regretted it, could I repurchase this item easily? And the answer to that, usually in this kind of modern era where we have Amazon, etc., is yes, of course, you can get those items replaced if you need to. So by this point, we're kind of nearing the end of this declutter, and I just got my mum back in to have a look at some of the items which I had put to one side. So these were ones where like I couldn't make the decision myself about whether they stayed or went. But my mum was kind of busy doing other jobs, so I couldn't ask her at the time. So I set those things away. So as well as like trying to do some organisation here, I've managed to free up one of those tote boxes. I've got all the Christmas decorations, Easter decorations, birthday stuff in there. And then I'm reorganizing things so that I have like all of the serving tureens together in one place. That I have all of the crafting stuff and like ribbons and all of that sort of thing in one place. So that things are way more organized. Plates are stacked on top of each other, and that sort of thing. And coffee cups are with the rest of the coffee cups of the set, with coffee pot, etc., at the back of the cupboard because they are not used very often. Whereas the runner bean cutter, I don't know what you call it, but the cutter that cuts the runner beans is at the front of a drawer. I keep calling them drawers. Shelf is at the front of a shelf because I know my mum's going to need them soon. Her runner beans, as you saw from earlier in the video, are doing really well. We're going to be seeing some runner beans growing very soon. And then when that starts to happen, like, it's pretty full on. You get lots of runner beans very quickly together. So we need to make sure that that is accessible and it's really convenient for my mum to get to. I think it's impossible to decide like how you're going to organize a space ahead of actually doing the declutter. So I always really like to just, start putting things out and grouping them together into like groups. And then I can change my mind about those groupings, or I can, lump two particular groups together where I don't have many items. But then I know like what I need going forward, whether I need to buy any additional storage for those particular items, and then I can get them lumped into the same categories and were put away in those kind of categories. So that's how I do it. I like to just, make that visual assessment as I go. And you'll notice that we really didn't touch those upper shelves very much at all. We did a little bit because I saw some very obvious items that I knew that we could part with that weren't being used. But then otherwise, I've left those top shelves really in the middle shelf as they were, because I don't need to be doing anything with them right now. My mum is definitely not in the sort of space where she wants to get rid of her bigger sets of crockery. She really enjoys them, and we do get a lot of use out of them, especially around Easter time and Christmas time, where we have, people around, where we're entertaining more. And I do love all that kind of tradition. I love getting out the best plates. I love having a separate set of, of cutlery for friends coming over for dinner. Like all of that is just like is super cute, and I really adore all of it. So I only came away with a few items from this declutter myself. There's always something which I seem to manage to pick up, which is absolutely not the aim, given that I am decluttering my own house right now. But there were some extra long, colourful Sunday straws my mum had. They had never been used. And I want to make my kids an ice cream soda. So I thought, oh, they will be amazing for the ice cream soda. We used to have that sort of thing growing up, and we had long Sunday spoons for those. So we'd have the ice cream soda in either a special glass jar, or we'd have it in a separate like kind of drinking glass. And then you have the ice cream in, and then you top it up with lemonade, and that makes it ice cream soda. So I thought one day, when we're not having all birthday parties and manically running around like headless chickens, then one day we will have some ice cream sodas. I also brought back some sushi sticks because my husband and I do eat sushi quite a bit. Like I would say maybe every couple of weeks we get sushi, and often I forget to get the sushi, like pick up the disposable sushi sticks. So given that my mum had sushi sticks that she didn't want anymore, I thought, great, I just take a few, put them in the drawers in the kitchen, and then if we forget our sushi sticks in the future, we'll know that we have that backup, which is really, really helpful. My mum was so pleased with how these shelves turned out, and I was too. I'm hoping that will make a real big difference, like going forward, that she'll find that when she's, going to find something, that will be that much easier. And with things, just with being a bit more space in there, but also with having things, actually like properly categorized. So we have a bin up there at the top now, which has all of like the Christmas stuff, the Easter stuff, Valentine's stuff, all of the decorations, birthday banners, and all that fun stuff. Then we have like plates and stuff stacked at the bottom. We have got all of our tureens together, and we've got all our glassware in one space. So much better here, looking really, really good. Now here is everything that we got rid of. So actually so much stuff, and there was an additional travel iron that my mum sorted out and added to the pile. I also didn't show here the placemats and the fabric placemats that we got rid of early in the day. So all in all, very good for one day.